There are silences that last longer than words, moments where the world keeps moving, but something inside you stays behind. I've lived in those moments. Every day looked complete from the outside, yet something essential is missing. Because when a heart is connected to another heart, distance doesn't break it. It reminds it, it aches quietly, it remembers without asking. And in that remembering, I realized something simple and undeniable. My heart didn't stop beating without you, but it missed you in every beat. There's a kind of silence that doesn't come from being alone. It comes from missing someone who once lived in every ordinary moment of your life. A silence that follows you into crowded rooms and sits beside you even when the world is loud. I learned that silence slowly, not all at once. It didn't announce itself, it just stayed, morning after morning, night after night, settling into my chest like a familiar ache that refused to leave. People think absence is about distance, but it isn't. It's about the space someone leaves behind when they stop being there. And that space doesn't stay empty. It fills with memories, with unfinished conversations, with words you never said and words you still repeat in your mind. My heart noticed it before I did. It noticed the way the air felt heavier, the way smiles felt borrowed, the way laughter sounded real but didn't feel complete. Every place I went carried an echo of you, not because you were there, but because you should have been. Time kept moving like it always does. Clocks didn't slow down, days didn't wait for me to catch up, but something inside me stopped counting. Moments lost their weight, victories felt quieter, losses felt deeper. And through all of it, my heart kept reaching out in small, silent ways, in the pauses between breaths, in the spaces between thoughts. It reached for the comfort it once knew, for the presence that made everything feel steady. I tried to convince myself that missing you was just habit, that it would fade with time, but love doesn't work that way. It doesn't disappear just because someone is gone. It changes its shape, it becomes patience, it becomes memory, it becomes endurance. My heart carried you without asking permission. It held on to the way you made the world feel less sharp, the way your presence softened the edges of life, even on days when I told myself I was fine. My heart knew the truth. It knew that something essential was missing, that every quiet moment was louder without you, that every long night was longer because you weren't there to share it. Absence taught me things I never wanted to learn. It taught me how strong love can be when it has nowhere to go, how loyal a heart can be even when it's hurting, how missing someone isn't weakness. It's proof that what was shared mattered enough to leave a mark. My heart missed you in ways I couldn't explain, not dramatically, not loudly, but constantly. Like a rhythm that never stopped, like a question that never found an answer. It missed you in the calm moments, in the storms, in the spaces where your voice used to live. And even when I tried to move forward, even when I told myself to let go, my heart stayed where you left it, faithful, quiet, waiting, carrying your absence like something precious, like something it was never meant to forget, like something it was never meant to release. Time moved forward without asking me if I was ready. Days kept arriving one after another, carrying responsibilities, conversations, obligations, but none of them carried meaning the way they used to. I learned how easy it is to exist without truly living, how routine can replace purpose when the one person who gave time its weight is no longer there. Mornings came and I woke up, nights came and I slept, but everything in between felt like a bridge I was crossing alone. People assume time heals everything, but time doesn't heal. It teaches you how to carry things quietly. It shows you how to function while something important is missing. My heart understood that before my mind did. It felt the difference between passing hours and lived moments. Hours passed easily. Moments did not. They needed you. Without you, they felt unfinished, like sentences that stop halfway. I watched seasons change and realized I was changing too. Not growing, just adjusting, learning how to survive without reaching for you. Every time something happened, good or bad, I stopped checking the clock for messages that wouldn't come, stopped replaying conversations that were already over. But even as I learned how to move through the day, my heart kept its own calendar, one where time was measured by memories instead of minutes. It remembered how quickly time used to disappear when you were near, how hours felt short and silence felt full. Now silence stretched endlessly. It asked questions that had no answers. It waited for moments that never arrived. Time became something I endured instead of something I shared. I learned that loneliness isn't about being alone. It's about having no one who truly sees you, no one who understands the pauses in your voice, No one who knows what you mean before you explain it. Without you, time felt louder. Every second announced itself. Every night reminded me how long a minute can be. When your thoughts have nowhere to rest, I tried to fill the space, distractions, work, conversations, noise, but nothing stayed. Nothing settled the way you once did. Time kept testing me, asking if I had learned how to let go, but my heart never answered yes, because letting go wasn't something it understood. It only knew how to hold on, quietly, patiently, without demanding anything in return. I realized that love doesn't measure itself in how long someone stays, but in how deeply they change the way you experience time. You changed mine forever. You made it meaningful, and when you were gone, meaning didn't disappear, it just stopped growing. My heart carried that truth every day, moving forward while staying behind, learning how to breathe in a world that felt incomplete, learning how to exist in time that no longer felt like home. Love doesn't leave when people do, it just changes the way it stays. I learned that in the quiet moments when I realized I was still carrying you with me, not in my hands, not in my words, but somewhere deeper, in the way my heart reacted to the world, in the way certain songs felt heavier, certain places felt warmer, certain memories arrived without warning. Love became something patient, something silent, something that didn't need to be spoken to exist. It waited without asking for reassurance. It stayed without demanding proof. I understood then that love isn't always about presence, sometimes it's about loyalty to what was real, even when no one else can see it. My heart never stopped choosing you, not actively, not loudly, but instinctively, like breathing, like remembering your own name. I tried to move on the way people say you should, with distance, with logic, with acceptance, but love doesn't follow rules, it follows truth, and the truth was simple. What I felt didn't disappear just because time passed, it didn't weaken, it just learned how to exist. Quietly, I carried you in the way I listened more than I spoke, in the way I became careful of people's hearts, in the way I understood loss without needing it. Explained, love reshaped me, it softened places that used to be guarded. It strengthened places that used to break easily. Even when you weren't there, you were still teaching my heart how to love better, how to stay gentle in a world that often isn't. I realized that love doesn't always ask to be returned. Sometimes it's enough that it was real, enough that it changed you, enough that it left you more human than before. My heart didn't resent the waiting. It didn't regret the feeling. It understood that loving you was never a mistake. It was an experience, one that stayed written into who I am. Every time I felt kindness without reason, patience without reward, understanding without explanation, I knew it came from the love that never left. It was still there, steady, faithful, not asking for anything, not expecting anything, just existing as proof that something true once lived here, and that truth didn't fade, it settled, it became part of me, something I carry forward without resistance, without fear, without needing to let go the moment. My heart recognized you again, wasn't loud. It didn't arrive with answers or grand gestures. It was quiet, almost fragile, like something returning to a place it never truly left. I didn't need proof. I didn't need explanations. My heart knew before my mind could catch up. It recognized the familiar calm, mixed with the familiar ache, the feeling that something lost had found its way back into focus. It was strange how natural it felt, like no time had passed at all, like every day without you had simply been a pause, not an ending. I realized then that some connections don't restart, they continue, even after distance, even after silence, even after everything that tried to pull them apart. My heart didn't celebrate, it didn't question, it just settled, like it had been holding its breath and finally remembered how to breathe again. Seeing you, thinking of you, feeling you near in any way reminded my heart of its original rhythm, the one it had before it learned how to survive without you. I understood then that missing someone isn't about weakness, it's about recognition, about knowing exactly where you belong. My heart had always known, it never confused you with anyone else, never replaced you, never rewrote the feeling. It simply waited for the moment it could recognize you again without hesitation. That recognition didn't erase the past. It didn't undo the silence or the distance, but it gave them meaning. It showed me that everything my heart endured had a purpose. That waiting wasn't empty. It was preparation, preparation for the moment when your presence, even in the smallest form, would remind my heart of its truth. I felt it in the way my thoughts slowed down. The way the world felt less sharp, in the way my chest felt lighter without any clear reason. My heart didn't need promises, it didn't need certainty, it only needed to know that what it carried all this time was real, and in recognizing you again, it found that confirmation. It found peace in knowing that love doesn't expire, it doesn't lose its identity, it doesn't forget where it belongs. My heart returned to itself through you, not because you fixed something, but because you reminded it of who it was before it learned how to live without what it loved. Most me heart didn't ask for permission before it chose you, and it didn't ask for permission before it kept choosing you again and again, even when everything suggested it should stop, even when logic said it was safer to move on. It stayed loyal in a way only a heart can, quietly, stubbornly, without needing applause or acknowledgement. I realized that some love isn't loud enough to be noticed by the world, but it's strong enough to shape an entire life from the inside. My heart carried you through days that demanded strength and nights that demanded patience. It carried you when no one else knew, when no one else would have understood why certain thoughts still mattered, why certain memories still held weight. I didn't hold on to you because I was afraid of letting go. I held on to you because my heart recognized truth when it felt it. And truth doesn't disappear just because circumstances change. Love became something internal, something private, something sacred. It lived in the way I learned to sit with my emotions instead of running from them, in the way I learned to be gentle with myself and others. My heart didn't harden from the missing, it softened. It learned empathy through absence, it learned patience through waiting, it learned faith through uncertainty. Every time life tried to distract me, tried to convince me that feelings should fade with time, my heart responded by staying steady, not resisting Anj, but not erasing what was real either. I learned that loving you wasn't about possession or proximity. It was about respect for something that mattered deeply, something that shaped me into someone more aware, more present, more human. My heart became a place where your influence lived freely, not as pain, not as regret, but as understanding. Understanding that some connections don't exist to be consumed, they exist to be honored, even when they're distant, even when they're quiet. I stopped asking my heart to forget you, because forgetting would have meant denying a part of myself, and my heart refused to do that. It chose honesty over comfort, depth over ease, truth over convenience, and in doing so, it found its own kind of peace. A peace that comes from accepting what you love instead of fighting it. My heart learned how to move forward without betrayal, how to grow without erasing, how to live without pretending, and through all of it, it remained true to you in the only way. And that mattered. By staying true to itself, he stopped asking my heart where it was going, because it had already decided. It moved with a quiet certainty that didn't need direction. It knew that loving you wasn't something that belonged to the past or the future. It existed in the present, in the way every feeling still aligned with your name. Even after everything that had changed, I learned that the heart doesn't rush toward conclusions, it walks at its own pace, carrying what matters without needing to explain itself. My heart learned how to trust its own rhythm again, not the noise around it, not the expectations of others, but the simple truth it felt whenever you crossed my mind. That truth didn't demand action, it didn't demand answers, it just existed, steady and clear. I realized then that some love isn't meant to be solved. It's meant to be lived with, to be carried as part of who you are. My heart didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt grounded, like it had finally accepted its own depth. Every emotion found its place. The longing, the calm, the hope, none of them fought each other. They coexisted, teaching my heart balance instead of conflict. I understood that loving you had taught my heart how to remain open without losing itself, how to feel deeply without falling apart, how to hope without desperation. My heart no longer chased moments or outcomes. It stayed present, aware that whatever was meant to happen would arrive in its own time, without force, without fear. I felt a quiet confidence settle in, not because everything was certain, but because my heart trusted itself enough to face uncertainty. Honestly, it knew that whatever path unfolded, it would walk it without denying what it felt, without pretending it hadn't loved fully. My heart became patient in a new way, not waiting for something specific, but allowing life to move naturally, knowing that real connections don't vanish, they transform, they resurface in ways you don't expect. My heart stayed open to that possibility, not clinging, not resisting, just open. I learned that strength isn't about closing yourself off. It's about staying true even when it would be easier to forget. My heart chose that kind of strength, quiet, steady, unbreakable, the kind that doesn't announce itself, the kind that simply continues, carrying love forward without conditions, without demands, without endings.